Good morning. We will talk about writing essays today, particularly how to analyze an issue. So, you all understand the importance of writing well for competitive exams. Any essay worth its name or any competitive exam worth its name is comprised of an essay writing task. It could be analyzing an issue, discussing an issue, giving your own opinion for and against. So, variety of tasks, but writing is an integral part of every competitive exam in English. That is the key factor that decides and that goes in making a decision for you. So, you will be needing writing in every field of life, academic writing, but let us now talk about writing for competitive exams. So, generally you are given for competitive exams, you are given a particular or a specific time and a specific number of words, let us say 30 minutes, 500 words, 40 minutes, 1000 words, something like that. So, read that well, that is most important. Never be under length, never write your work in your work should never be under length. Okay? That is the key feature for most competitive exams. So, always see that you are counting your words well, you should know your own speed, and many a time students find it very difficult to write 1000 words in 40 minutes or 800 words in 40 minutes or something like that, whatever is the requirement of the exam. Practice before going, you should be able to handle the minimum number of words required for an essay. That does not mean that you repeat yourself. That is the main point, or that does not mean that you start copying the question in exact language. Those are the key features that you should remember. Now, for analyzing an issue, you are generally presented with a topic. These topics are usually straightforward, there is nothing ambiguous about that. So, they are very straightforward, can be attempted without any great preparation in special fields of inquiry. So, you do not need to have a sociologist to write something about the condition of schools in India. You do not need to be an anthropologist to understand about people and their tastes. So, an educated reader, someone who has read well, and that is what is expected, to show some kind of knowledge about or have some kind of a global view, world view about a given topic. Now, topic of general interest may include something on environment, right, with increasing amount of pollution in the environment. Do you think that more and more people should, or government should force people to use public transport instead of personal vehicles, or should carpooling be imposed strictly in most countries or metro cities, something like that. You do not have to be an environmental scientist to understand this. Another question could be like, let me give you an example, communication, right, and social media. So, most of you are doing that. So, with increasing amount of communication via or through social media, the quality of conversation is changing. In what way? Is it reducing, is improving? You have to talk about that, okay, to take a stand. Technology and its side effects. Do you think in the future people will depend more on technology? Would it do more harm than good? That is the kind of questions that generally competitive exams, right, now or ask, sorry. The topic sentence will be followed by a set of specific instructions. For example, your question may be Write a response in which you discuss the extent to which you agree or disagree. So, to the extent to which you agree or disagree, or discuss both points of view, where you have to talk the both you have to talk about the two sides of the same issue. You may not agree with for or against, but anyway you have to discuss that, because that is what is asked. At the end of it, you have to give your own position. So, you have to take a position. Remember, in developing and supporting your position, you should consider ways in which the statement might or might not hold true, and explain how these considerations shape your position. So, that is important. You have to talk about both sides if it is discursive kind of discussion kind of a question. In a question like write a response in which you discuss the extent to which you agree or disagree with the claim and the reason on which that claim is based, you can give, you can agree or disagree. So, you can take a position, but when it is discussion, you have or specifically ask that discuss both sides or discuss both points for and against, then you have to talk about both points. Remember, your score will be based not on whether your opinion is right or wrong. Remember, there is no right question. You may take there is no right response in essay type question. You may take a position which is contrary to the popular beliefs. Should more and more people send their aging parents to old age homes? Do you agree or disagree? Now, it is a very culturally specific question. Most people in specific cultures may say, may not agree. But even if you agree that yes, parents, aging parents should be sent away to old age homes, do not think that just because this is not a very popular kind of a response, you will be marked down. It's all about the way you develop your response. There is no correct position. Remember, the marking, the assessment, the evaluation is completely based on the skill with which you address the specific issue, justify your position, and you have to be articulate, grammatically correct, use a variety of language, range of language. Of course, you should organize your question or your response in a logically coherent manner. Remember, the issue task is intended to test your persuasive writing. How can you, how strongly can you persuade a writer or reader to come around to your position, to see your position? You must make compelling arguments. It is not a test on your mindset or on your social perception. Yeah, writing skills are needed, but make a compelling argument as well. Responses should ideally include a few examples. So, if you are well read, you will be able to include a couple of examples. If the question indicates that technology causes more harm than good and you are arguing against the topic, then you can give examples of biomedicine or convenience of moving to cashless transaction, things like that, whether they are causing more harm than benefit or otherwise. Remember, your essay must not be confused or ambiguous. You should not try to say that you are equally convinced of both sides of the issue. You should have a stand-up position. You should provide a compelling argument on your position and then go on to use qualifiers like however, but, still, although, yet. Yeah, these are the kinds of markers that indicate a shift from one position to another, that this is my position. So, a brief discussion of the opposite case followed by your position. Now, let us talk about the kinds of topics. So, analyze an issue kind of task usually falls within some categories, a few categories that I will discuss with you and that we would look at in detail. So, let us talk about technology and society. Now, there could be a question like the increasingly rapid pace of life today causes more problems that it solves. You have to analyze it. Like technological inventions such as apps can never be as effective as real time learning in the classroom. Now, we are talking about education and technology, apps and technology. Another example could be the human mind will always be superior to machines, right? Because after all, human minds control machines. But then sometimes science fiction films and books tell us that things can go, machines can go out of control, situations can go out of control. So, then what happens? And then is human mind strong enough to combat when machines or situation when machines go haywire. So, another topic could be like cities and urbanization. So, cities are cultural markers of society. Yeah, cities are cultural markers of society, and what do they stand for? So, it is not small towns or rural areas, but cities indicate what a city, what a country, what a nation is like. A question could be, it is primarily in cities that a nation's cultural traditions are generated and preserved, which is quite true. You may take a stand for and against. Question could be, for example, the best way to solve environmental problems caused by consumer generated waste is for big towns and cities to impose strict rules and regulations on the amount of trash they accept from each household. Questions can also come from the domain of arts. For example, artists have a deep social responsibility, or should it be art for art's sake? So, you should be, it is an age old conflict. So, social responsibility of artists, or should it be art for art's sake? A question could be, significantly poor third world nations should suspend funding for the arts. Now, for and against, because art, of course, many people may argue that art does not lead to anything, it does not really contribute towards society. So, funding should not be there. Art courses also, art based courses also, people often say that it is only those kinds of courses in education that provide some or that yield to some social benefit. What does art do? What does literature do? So, for and against. In education, against formal education, a question could be that formal education tends to constrain, restrict or restrain our minds rather than set them free. So, real education does not take place in classrooms somewhere. So, for and against. Nature of language, should there be, because with increasing globalization, should it be compulsory that every child should be taught at least 4 languages at school level, for or against? Another important question, a very frequent question could be exams and their roles in assessing a candidate's caliber. Questions can also come, for instance, related to the field of government and the way things are governed and administered. So, government should not fund any scientific research whose consequences are too vague or unclear. Okay. In other words, again, which has no enormous social benefits. Again, the well-being of a society is enhanced when many people are taught or trained to question authority. There are societies where free press, for instance, is controlled. People do not write, people cannot express themselves freely. Should there be some kind of restriction on freedom of speech? Again, an ideal government should cater to the general well-being that causes great happiness to the greatest number of people, that is pursuit of happiness. Should it be is it valid, is it acceptable. Because questions can also be related to the domain of human mind and intellect. For example, the best ideas arise from interest in commonplace things, not in great or grand ideas, but common things. Yeah, and best ideas can be generated from commonplace things. Or for example, a question could be, in any field of inquiry, the beginner is more likely than the expert to make important contributions. This is again debatable, but in classroom, again another question that can be or that could be framed is, in classroom it is practical to encourage intellectual endeavors over creative abilities, for or against. Questions can also come from philosophical or the area of philosophy. So, for example, a question like, as we acquire more knowledge, things do not become more comprehensible, but more complex and mysterious. Now, this is a very higher order question. This is not the way that you are going to tackle the technology or arts kind of a question. As we acquire more knowledge, things become more complex. This is something that you can expect only for higher order questions or exams. Again, people who are the most deeply committed to an idea or policy are also the most critical of it. This is also something that you need to know something about philosophy, about sociology, about anthropology to in order to crack these kinds of questions. In the light of modern technology and the growth of internet, for example, I am giving you a question, it is no longer possible for an idea to be truly original. What happens to the concept of originality, the notion of originality? You will have to think about this. Okay, you will have to do some reading. So, you have to be very clear about what questions can be asked in your exam. So, it all depends on the kind of question or in the kind of on the kind of exam that you are appearing for. It is important to have some idea of the previous question papers. Okay. So, talk to people who have appeared for those exams and ask them what is the pattern. Okay. For example, if I give you a question like, formal education tends to restrain our minds and spirits rather than set them free. You have to discuss the extent to which you agree or disagree with this statement and explain your reasoning for the position you take. Now, how to crack a question like this? The task is to agree or disagree with the given statement and provide your reasons for the same. So, how do we go about writing the essay? Now, I can give you a couple of tips. I will repeat the question. Formal education tends to restrict or restrain our minds and spirits rather than set them free. This is your question. How are you going to connect? How are you going to solve this essay? What are the points? Now, remember that there are lots of commonsensical arguments available for the statement, that is against the formal education system. If you are going against, then you should agree with this statement, and some of these arguments are that formal education system restrains creativity. They do not prepare you for real life problems. Schools are capitalistic institutions. Yeah? So, you need to organize your thoughts accordingly in terms of importance and how they can link or flow into one another. Remember that you are expected to outline your position by giving it a 3-act structure or a 3-part structure: introduction, developing the body, and conclusion. So, that is the 3-part structure. Organize your thoughts into different paragraphs and use the 3 arguments you have decided upon within this structure. Remember, before you start writing, think of some quotations or excerpts that can add value to your essay. For instance, you can use a well-known proverb, knowledge is power. Okay. So, these are the kinds of things that some quotation or excerpts can always be used. A child is not a vase to be filled, but a fire to be lit. Don't just stuff knowledge or information, but ignite passion for learning. So, try to think of where you can use these excerpts or quotations to enhance your essay. Don't just insert anywhere where you want them, where you feel that they are okay. It is not like, many a time I have come across essays where quotations are just inserted because the writer knows those quotations, but they do not really fit. And sometimes they sound extremely cliched, you know, which everyone else would be writing, everyone would be using. The person sitting next to you would also be using the same kind of language or proverbs. Try to bring some variety. Another tip is you should pay special attention to the instructions while formulating your essay outline and position. Digressing will cost you your scores. What matters is stick to the length, but also always be very coherent and cogent about your ideas. Tackle the issue clearly and forcefully with clarity. Look at this particular example. Look at the slide here. It is a solved essay, an example. Formal education tends to restrain our minds and spirits rather than set them free. Discuss the extent, please read the essay here. Discuss the extent to which you agree or disagree with the statement above and explain your reasoning for the position you take. Look at the way it has been done for you. It is oft quoted that a child is not a vase to be filled, but a fire to be lit. So, this is a quotation, okay. Why? But you do not have to write, I am just using it to give you an example. You do not do this for your actual exam. Do not write in bracket that this is a proverb or a quotation. So, just an example. While the principal objective of an ideal education is to kindle this quest for truth, formal education tends to restrain our minds and spirits rather than set them free. So, this is your thesis statement and topic conclusion. This is the position you are going to take. So, that is thesis statement. The primary fault with formal education is that despite providing practical benefits, it poses a huge problem in its disregard for individual taste and talent. So, this is a reason. Okay. In a capitalist society, the system takes the form of wholly monotonous industry whose sole benefactors are those who own educational institutions and continue building them. Most importantly, the formal education system prepares children for a job while it should prepare children for living life. The literal and metaphorical baggage of countless notebooks, inhuman hours and the disciplining dictatorship of teachers provide testimony to the fact of an overtly mechanistic education system. A formal education system tends to focus on uniform schedules and interests, thereby imposing several subjects on a student despite his or her individual abilities. This is the topic sentence for reason 1. The following quotation, popularly attributed to Einstein, Albert Einstein, captures this sentiment. Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. That is quote 2. The overwhelming bias for natural sciences and the popular disregard for creative pursuits is also characteristic of a formal education, further marginalizing the interests of several participants in the process. A one-size-fits-all methodology is not only inadequate to develop young minds, it actively restrains them to process or to a process which creates more clones of one another. So, these are sentences, you are giving them enough material to develop and support reason 1. Now, moving on to the next slide, the capitalist turn in education can be easily marked by the emergence of the term education industry. This is another reason to go against, right. So, formal education has become a lucrative business where learning and creativity are subsumed in a pursuit for greater profits. So, there is an example given from a local school, okay, and then we go on. So, it is always good to give examples. Now, moving on to the next para. Thirdly and most importantly, schools prepare children for a job while it should prepare our children for life. The supposedly practical concerns with landing a good career outweighs the necessary issue one encounters in life, such as managing money, relationships, stress and depression and so on. An uncritical amassment of information hardly covers the goal of real education, which is to provide a direction and purpose to young minds at an impressionable age. The fact that 10% of middle-aged Europeans are on antidepressants might very well be caused by this failure of our education system to prepare people for dealing with everyday life. Clearly, and next paragraph. So, remember, paragraphing is extremely important. You cannot go in one block or a mass and breathless style of writing. There has to be indications that you are changing ideas or giving more ideas. So, clearly a formal education system has been responsible for mass manufacture crowds of students who remain unaffected at best from the fallibilities of the system. Rather than inculcating an environment that fosters free thinking, it only tends to restrain our minds further, producing narrow manners of thought and action. So, what is now you are going to go, you are moving towards your conclusion. It is evident that only with a swift and necessary change in formal education can we expect our future generations to acquire a truly intelligent and creative outlook. So, everything is moving towards agreeing with the question, the statement that is formal education stilting or stifling people's creative growth, and the entire essay is in support of the statement. It doesn't need to talk about the merits of formal education. So, the response can go on giving several examples, and it is a very well articulated, very well written essay about the perils of formal education. So, remember, you need to have a checklist. An essay should have a valid argument backed up by evidence. It employs varied sentence structure and demonstrates appreciable facility with language. It has to be, all these things have to be practiced and cultivated. It will not happen overnight. Remember, the organization of the essay should be very perceptible. Like you have just seen, this essay, it effectively argues in favor of its position. It uses good examples, that is what you are supposed to do, quotations and excerpts to support the argument that it puts forward. Remember that elements of a standard language, English language, should be effectively used, vocabulary, usage, grammar, punctuation. You are not supposed to coin new words here, okay, but use them very wisely, judiciously. So, how was the essay framed? You have to have a thesis statement and topic conclusion. You have to have summary para of reasons. So, you have given 3 reasons. On reason 1, use 6 to 7 sentences, reason 2, 6 to 7 sentences, and same for reason 3. So, every reason should be well extended with examples and good arguments. Concluding paragraph should be there, recapping whatever you have said throughout, and there should be a conclusion. Conclusion should be related to what you have stated explicitly in your topic sentence. and of course include quotations and relevant examples wherever needed, but use them appropriately and not just like a Xerox. Don't be a Xerox of other people, the way other people think and write. So, practice a lot. We will do more such exercises in our subsequent classes. Thank you very much.